Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to be teaching you about while loops and do while loops. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, in the previous video we covered for loops, and this time I am going to be showing you for do while loops and while loops. Okay, so first let's explore while loops. Okay, so here's a simple example of a while loop in the C programming language. Again, we every time we need to include the stdio.h header file. Okay, so here I have a main function. Here I've declared and initialized a variable x, and then here is my while loop. So the while loop here is saying while x is less than 10. So while this is less than 10, this loop runs. So here it's going to print iteration, and then it's going to say which iteration it is. Then here we have a +1 here, so it's easier to understand, because if we don't have, it's first going to say iteration 0. That doesn't really make sense. So we are going to have a +1 here, so when it reaches the end of it, it's going to say iteration 10. And here we have the increment operator, which adds 1 to x each time this loop runs. Okay, so first, what I'm now going to do is compile this code and run it. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so you see, this is the output of the code: iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4, iteration 5, and so on. So that is basically a really simple example of a while loop. Now, in this part of the video, what we are going to do is explore do while loops. Okay, so I'm going to open up my do while loop code, and here we have a code that has a variable. Okay, it's declared as an integer, and it's initialized to 0. And then here we have our do while loop. Okay, so this always runs no matter what. So like this statement right here, x equals 0, and it's only supposed to run while x equals 5, while x equals 5. But here's the thing with do while loops: it doesn't matter whether this statement is true or false, it always runs at least once. So if this statement is true, it's going to run again. But since in this case this statement is not true, like 0 doesn't equal 5, so that's not true, but it's going to run only once anyways. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and compile this code, and then I'm going to run it. Okay, it says this always runs. Okay, so let me go ahead and make some changes to the do while loop. Okay, what I'm going to do is first remove this, and then type printf iteration, then have x plus 1. Now let's make changes to the while loop and say x is less than 5, and then so this is actually going to run forever. So what I'm going to do is also add this increment operator, and now let's go ahead and save this and compile it again. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. Oh, right here, what's happened is that yeah, right here. So I didn't add the new line character. So you always need to add the new line character in order to make sure that your output is readable, or at least easier to read. So yeah, this output is much better right here. So here we have iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4, and iteration 5. So as you can see, this while loop works just like any other while loop. However, this is different because of that do statement right there. Okay, So that's basically it for do while loops and while loops. I hope you learned something useful in this video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.